What's up, everybody? It's your favorite father's favorite nerd. I say that because it is Father's Day and it's early in the morning, but I should be laid up, getting taken care of, getting breakfast in bed and all that kind of stuff, but I know you guys need something for Monday. So let's take a look at Ultra Magnus. This is the Combiner Wars Leader class unit. His guns are in his hand. This one he holds fairly well, this one not so much. They're a single cast black piece, and all sorts of hollowness in there. This one, pretty much the same deal. Now they do combine because it is Combiner Wars. So these side rocket pieces come off, and they have red paint applied to the missiles, and then you can do this number if you'd like. And have him hold this kind of gargantuan rifle thing, but it's really not for me. He'll hold it okay if you support the weight of it with this hand, because he holds this pistol grip much better than he holds this one. Even though they look relatively the same, it might just be the hand itself. Not sure, and it might be a thing where individual results may vary because of the strength of the hinge on mine. But let's put these back. Actually, we'll just set them to the side and make it all easier. They plug into these flaps here. The flaps rotate to allow for articulation. We'll talk about that. And the other accessory that he comes with is Minimus Ambus, which is really cool. Open that up. And then open this up. And you can see Minimus Ambus in there. And that's really, really pretty awesome. We'll take him out and take a look at him real quick. He sits in there too, and like almost has like a little throne. Like the sculpt work in there, all the line work and detail and stuff is really well done. I got to take my hat off to him for that. It would have been even better with paint, but I guess I was asking for too much. So Minimus Ambus himself, green paint there, and then the extra darker green on top, which is an extra step I wouldn't have normally asked. Not asked. I would have definitely asked, but wouldn't have expected for them to take. The red paint on the eyes, green paint down there, and even black paint there, black paint on the side there, and then the Autobot symbol there as well. Articulation-wise on this little fella, he's got a ball-jointed shoulder, good range of motion. Would have been awesome if he had a hinge on the elbow. Same on the other side, ball-jointed hips, T-jointed, so range of motion really isn't an issue in either direction. And then a hinged knee getting you 90 degrees. I would have liked for a waist swivel and a head swivel and elbow hinges, and this guy would have been perfect. But as is, he's still pretty cool to me, and I love the fact that they did it. To transform him, you just rock this piece out. This piece is stiff on mine, so it does take a little bit of elbow grease, but rock that up, flip the legs on top, and then close in the arms, and you've got the little cruiser thing, and I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a nice added little bonus. This guy, let's talk about him. Head is on a swivel, which is unfortunate. It's not the way they should have done it. If you see how they've, let me see if I can't show you. There's a piece here, and it's on a hinge. The hinge just doesn't allow it really to go up, which is okay because it doesn't have a neck, so it would look ridiculous. It does flip down. And it comes out here, and then there's a mushroom cap basically that comes up that allows the swivel. But what they should have done is put a ball joint there, so you could have gotten some up, or some, at the very least, some down. I feel like Ultra Magnus needs to be able to look down on you. I think that's a fairly big oversight in my opinion. Paint-wise, the eyes are awesome. Like it's a really good choice of paint that they chose for the eyes, and then the silver is applied nicely as well. Moving down the figure. This blue that they chose to cast for the blue is a really nice choice. Like it's kind of reminiscent of Bertram's colors a little bit. Like It's still a little vibrant for More Than Meets the Eye as I remember it and see it and everything in my head, but it's still a nice choice of a blue because it's not like a royal blue or like a navy blue or ultramarine blue, if you know what I'm saying. So moving down the figure, we got a good paint on the chest. That's really where you get your money's worth paint wise. The silver in there, we got this dark gray like gunmetal in there, the red, the silver, the yellow, and this is all on a blue piece of plastic. So they really gave you awesome paint there. It makes me a little upset though because that's pretty much all the paint you get on them with a few exceptions. But like that's a ton of paint and it's nicely done. And if they could have applied that, you know, throughout, we'd have a lot of really quality figures on our hands paint wise, but that's not the case. So speaking of the torso, the problem is no waist swivel, and there's no real good reason for it. They could have put one in there between this pelvis piece and this piece, and it would have allowed for a lot of great posing, but no, you don't have that option. They've taken it away from you. On the arms, due to transformation, you can cheat and get a butterfly joint, which is nice. I dig that. The arms themselves are kind of out-engineered, the masterpiece in a way, because you can flip this panel up and then you can flip this arm out to the side without this hindering this for articulation. Pretty smart. You get a soft ratcheting swivel here as well, so that's all pretty good. Another soft ratcheting swivel here as well, so on the hinge. So that's pretty well done. The bicep swivel and then the soft ratcheting elbow, getting you 90 degrees. No wrist swivel, which is unfortunate, and there's no good reason why. No good reason why. And then the fingers are on a hinge. Now, real quick, just as a heads up to everyone, there's not a lick of paint, not a lick on the arms. But just as a heads up to everyone, when he comes in the box, he comes in the box like this. And when I got him, I was like, how did I miss the proportions on this? His arms are way too long. I was furious, and then I got him out of the box, and then I, gave him a little plug up, and I was like, oh, okay, he's good to go. Speaking of getting him out of the box, he's extremely light. He's light in terms of how you would expect him to be. I'll weigh him real quick. 0.6 pounds. Very light for his size. It's just, I'll tell you, when I got him out of the box, I expected him to be heavy, just looking at his bulk and everything. And I picked him up and almost flung him halfway across the room. It reminded me of similar circumstances that I've seen happen to people. Look at that can of Coke Zero. I want to sip so bad. And from what I remember, I just opened it like 20 minutes ago and barely took a sip. So it's probably really heavy. I better put some extra effort into picking it up so that it doesn't slip between my fingers. Son of a... Shout out to Greg for Mercy for that one. But yeah, he does come out of the box and his arms are a little low, and then, they're like that, and, I was like, oh man, you got the monkey man. But that's not the case. You can just slide the arms up and he's fairly good to go. Okay. Moving down the figure. Hips are on ratcheted universals. Ratchets hold just fine. You get up to there. Back you get to there, which I think is more than okay. Out to the side, no problem. There is a problem with the ratchets in there in the design of this figure, but we'll get to that. Thigh swivel, no problems there. Ratcheted knees, getting you 90, maybe a little bit past 90 degrees to be honest. And then toe or foot tilt, no rocker. Now here's the problem. The hips have to be like that in order for him to stand, which looks awkward because if you go out, the ratchets are so far apart that if you go out one click, he doesn't stand with his feet flat anymore. It chews me up. It chews me up. I don't understand that choice. If they would have given him rockers, you could have really... I don't understand it. This is a $50 toy. You can't work that out. As far as paint on the legs, you get pretty much nothing with the exception of the silver here and the two reds there, which is done very clean, I must say. But yeah, pretty crazy. Let's get them transformed. Take off these accessories just as a reminder. You don't necessarily have to. Just always makes life easier. It's just a force of habit at this point, right? So bring down these. They rock out, so to speak, down to here. The ultimate monkey man. And let's see. Do this. We'll open this up. Flip that in. And then this whole cab comes up, spins around right there, and plugs back in. Now for this bit of business down here, you want to unplug this here, and then unplug that. Rotate this whole piece. Rotate the foot down. Same on the other side. He's a bit unwieldy to do in front of the camera, so I hope you can make out what I'm doing here. But it's not really this, it's not really rocket science. Tab these together. Bring this down. Bring the waist up like that, and then snap that down in. These red pieces then plug into the white piece there. In there. Bring this down. The cab pull down, pull out. Rotate these pieces up and then adjust accordingly, and then we pull out, so to speak. These pieces tab in together and then tab into the side. And these pieces tab back in the way they initially were. And that's that. For your gun axe thing, you've got some options. But most people are going to want the missiles here, and I guess they can't stay in for transformation. Because it flips up. It's the opposite side. So disregard that. But yeah. And then you can plug these in back here if you want to do super power mode, which is not ever my bag, but that option is available to you. So there he is. Rolls like a champ. If you have a flat mat. I think that's how the feet are supposed to be in the back. No, you can get them tighter. There you go. Now you got her, girl. So there it is. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good. Truck mode. I think it's decent. I'm happy with this. Once again, this is where paint kind of suffers. Like there's just like the Masterpiece one. There's tons of detail and stuff in there that can't be It's not really accented because there's no paint. Same down in there, and you know, I understand why they did it on the masterpiece to like match cartoon accuracy, but for IDW, you know, there's a lot more leniency because different artists take over, different colorists take over, they do different things. It would have allowed for a lot of creative freedom to kind of bring some of these details out. Scale wise, you can bring Bumblebee back from the dead and he can ride on top, no problem. And you can bring down your flaps here, and you can drive up and ride in there, no problem. Cab rotates to 90 degrees, so that's nice. You know, past 90 degrees to be quite honest. So it's a pretty good design. And there he is with some other IDW inspired designs. So size-wise, he's pretty much on the money for this like chug scale IDW line. Final thoughts. My issues are lack of paint, lack of articulation. To be honest with you, I could even deal with the lack of paint with pretty much no issue if the articulation was handled better. If he had a hinge or a ball joint for the head / neck that allowed him to look up and down, if he had a waist swivel, if he had an ankle rocker of some sort to get him in more dynamic poses that didn't look ridiculous like this. You know, this looks, when you have your foot out like this, it looks like you're doing a dance move, like. But instead, I would prefer if it looked like he was standing more solid. He does have a problem standing for me from time to time because if you don't have him in that perfect position in regard to his ankles, he tends to want to topple over because he's really light and he's really hollow. I mean, looking at the back of the figure, I mean, all this is hollow, and you can see right in it. Arms hollow, 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 hollow. Like he's a hollow figure. And then to not have the ability to position those ankles and those feet underneath his hollowness, it does create a bit of a problem standing from time to time. Unless he's standing straight up and down, which is kind of just not what you want for a shelf. Now on the plus side of things, the sculpt is dead on. You know, it's one of the few times with a Hasbro figure that I wouldn't ask for anything more with the sculpt. You know, the design of it in the sense of the lines and the proportions and the overall aesthetic. It's dead on the money. It's so on the money. So would I recommend them? Definitely. Just be aware that there are some issues articulation wise, and if you wanted him in a dynamic pose, it may not happen. If you want him looking stoically in the back, which is pretty Ultra Magnus, he will work just fine. I am very interested to see what Hasbro has in store for the future in regards to leader class figures and Voyagers and Legends. That is, if they can create some new molds and not repaint the dead end mold a billion more times. That would be very much appreciated. I'm especially interested to see what they do in regard to IDW characters that do not combine, because that's where I feel like I get the most bang for my buck. So would I recommend him? Absolutely. He has some articulation issues. He has some limited paint, but you get a lot of paint up in the middle there, and the character is just seeping out of him. So I think it's overall decent. I just think there's a few things that could have made it perfect, but why put forth the extra effort when people are going to buy your stuff anyway, I guess. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.